Hey yo, what's goodies in this hoodies? So I'm going to show you guys how to make a knife party centipede type bass lead kind of deal. Um, this was pretty fun to figure out because when I was listening to their patch and whatnot, it's pretty much sounded like FM synthesis. I don't know for sure, but it sounded like an FM bass sound, like they were using FM8 or something. So it was really fun to do that with Reason. So FM synthesis, I've heard be called hell mode of the synthesis groups, whatever. So this is probably gonna get confusing and hard to follow along. So what we're going to do to start out, well, first I'm going to play the noise, and you'll decide right there whether you want to stick around. But what we're going to do is we're going to create our devices first because it's going to make it easier to explain. The notes I'm playing on the keyboard are F sharp, E, and D sharp, and whatever else is in the key. But basically, those are the three notes that I'll be jamming out to. So this is my version of the sound. And after we get into it some more, I'm gonna show you how to play with these bandpass filters and stuff to make it do all the different parts of the song, and show you how the rate is used to affect the song. And if we go to Centipede, we'll jam out a little bit.
Centipede.
So it's a pretty fun patch, and you can do a lot with it. And if you follow along, you'll learn a lot about how to get off the beaten path, I think is the expression. And we'll learn some shit together. We'll party together. So let's get into it. So like I said, FM synthesis. We use, in FM land, everything's called an operator. So we use one operator to modulate another operator, and we get like a wave, like a new crazy weird wave. And if we do this a bunch of times with complex algorithms and whatnot, then we get to make any sound we want. FM is really known for harsh sounds and all that shit. But yeah. So let's get into this before I just keep talking. The first thing we're gonna do is create 3 Thors for our oscillators / operators. Actually, before we do that, let's get them all the same first. So put your range to 12 so we can do some pitch bends. Polyphony and release polyphony down to 1, and put it on mono legato mode so that every time we trigger the wave, it's like the same wave. I noticed that if you put it on retrig, you'll get like phasing sometimes. So put it on mono legato. Load up 3 analog oscillators. Make sure they're all on octave 4, and switch them all to sine waves. Crazy? A little bit. It's a little crazy. Make them run through both filters. You only need to run them through one filter, but when I was making the patch, I tried doing it with only one Thor, but I couldn't get the right tone. So I was doing the state variable trick in this one Thor. Oh my god, I'm gonna cough. Alright, now we're good to go. So just route them through both. It'll just make it louder. It doesn't really affect anything. In your mixer, put your balance towards oscillator 1 a little bit. And that'll set you off in the right way for now. Turn off your filter envelope, put your amp envelope all the way up, leave your A and R where they are, and then do the handy dandy pitch rotary trick that I always do. Mod envelope, oscillator 1 pitch, oscillator 3 pitch, oscillator 2 pitch, 100, 100, 100, scale them by rotary 1. Burping. And now, we turn rotary 1 up. We have a decay envelope thing. Whoops. God, I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible. Now we're rocking. So now we just have some sine waves, pitch fine. F sharp. Turn that off though, because we're not going to use it. And then, just to get ready, audio input 1, load it up 3 times. And then load up voice key gate, destination, CV output 1, 100%, whatnot. Okay, so now we can duplicate this Thor, just duplicate it. Now we have 2 of them. On your second Thor now, just put this balance back to 63, where it is originally. And then you can pretty much just leave it, I think. So now we have 6 sine wave oscillators. Okay? 6 sine wave oscillators. Now we're creating another Thor to be the Thor to unite them all. Polyphony and release down to 1. Mono, legato, range there. Turn everything off. Put your amp and sustain all the way up. Actually, it doesn't matter. Screw the amp and sustain, screw the filter envelope. They're not, that's not what's going on here. We are going to load up an analog oscillator here. And this time, we're going to use a saw wave. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take the output of this operator modulator 3 and throw it into both these Thors to frequency mod all 6 of these oscillators. And we're going to do it in a way that's going to totally create this waveform that fills up the entire frequency spectrum with tons of partials and harmonics, so that when we use the bandpass filters to make everything talk and wobble and blah 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 blah, it's going to be this huge, massive, engulfing sound. So right now, actually let's not do that yet. Let's do all the routing first. So we're going to take oscillator 3's output, load up oscillator 3 into destination audio out 1 by 100. And then we need to combine and split this signal. So we're going to load up one of these bad boys, Spider Audio. Output of Thor 3 into, why isn't this working? Oh, that's the input. Sorry, wrong one. Output into the splitter. One output into audio input 1 up here. Another one into audio input 1 in the second one. So we have the saw wave oscillator getting split into 2 signals, and one of them going into the first 3 sine waves, and another one, same signal, going into the other 3 sine waves. Ooh, all right. Now, let's create another spider audio merger splitter and take our output of our first two Thors that have the 3 sine waves and 3 sine waves, merge the signal together, and for right now we'll create a line mixer 6 so we can just hear what we're doing. We'll put it back into the output of the accommodator. So we've combined our 6 sine waves into 1 mega sine wave, and we are taking the output of a saw wave to FM all 6 of those sine waves through audio output 1, and then splitting the signal into the other 2 Thors. Okay? So let's see what we got now. Just a really loud sine wave. So let's get FMing, frequency modding. So I will say that when I was making this sound, I thought what I was doing was FMing all the oscillators, but I wasn't, just out of mistake, really. But my thinking was that if we throw in not a multiple of 10, but every 10 values, like 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, if we FM'd all 6 sine waves by one of those values, we'd be spreading out the partials and harmonics throughout the whole frequency spectrum and getting a lot of mid-range crunchiness, thickness. And I think it worked, even though, as we'll see down here, I didn't really do that. So on your first Thor, we have oscillator 3 from down here on the third Thor, the saw wave, getting put into the audio input 1 via the splitter. And now we're going to turn the value up into destination oscillator 1 FM, oscillator 2 FM, and then oscillator 1 FM again. Even though if I were to do it over, I would do oscillator 3 FM. First one up to 26, next one up to 25, next one up to 37. Now we have this. See? We're getting somewheres. Down to the second one. We're going to bring this one up to 52, this one up to 42, this one up to 60. So we have a split between 40, 50, and 60. Oscillator 1 FM, oscillator 2 FM, oscillator 1 FM again. Now we have this. So we just got a lot of new high frequency content over here. And now here comes the super duper mega trick. We're going to switch our saw wave modulator down 2 octaves. And now it becomes a bass tone. And if we play around with these FM values, you'll see how you can really sculpt a tone that you want, any tone you want. Like, let's just change this one. So we're gonna roll with that because that's what I did. And now let's get cracking, you know. So let's get rid of this this mixer. let's create an etch red. I'm not using the etch red as a filter here, I'm using it as an LFO. I'm only using LFO1 from the etch red. So if you don't have etch red, then when we do the bandpass modulation, we're just going to use LFO from the Thor. So create a Thor. This is going to be our bandpass filters. So load up both bandpass filters. Envelope, velocity down, blah, blah, blah. No filter envelope, just turn it off. Amp envelope, blah, blah, blah. Actually, no, amp envelope needs to be all the way up because you'll see in a sec. Turn off your oscillators. Now, take your merged signal from before and put it into audio input 1 and audio input 2. Take your, if you have etch red, your LFO1 from the etch red, transmod modulation output, into modulation input CV1. Whoa, this is some dry shit I'm talking about right now. In your Thor filter, bad boy, in your modulation matrix, we're gonna do audio input 1 because we really have a mono signal. It doesn't matter. Load it up 4 times. This is bad routing. What I did. This is inefficient. It doesn't make sense to load up the same thing twice like this. But it's what I did the first time, so we're gonna do it again. If I was gonna do it over, you only need one of these, audio input 1 to filter 1 input, because it's mono. It doesn't care about left and right. So I don't know why I did this, but we're just gonna go with it. So just turn out the values to 100, and then here's actually, let's not do the LFO yet. So now we have this going on. We have, if we turn our filters off, we're just getting the signal through the Thor. We have to put the output into something. So let's put it into the combinator. You'll notice that all the frequencies are pretty equally represented, and the bass isn't like louder than anywhere else. So if we look down here, normally in a normal patch, your bass would be much louder if you were playing like a bass note. So that's why, like, I don't know, in the case that you were going to use this in a tune, you would need to throw a sub-bass sine wave underneath this all to give the bottom of the track the beef that it needs, because it's not getting it from this patch, and it won't get it from any real FM patch like that you're making like this, unless, I don't know, I'm doing it wrong or something. I could be. So load up 2 state variables. Put your resonance up to what? 93 and 94. 93. 94. Filter 1's frequency to 857. Filter 2's frequency to 946. And then CV1 input, which is the LFO from the etch red, into filter 1 frequency by 58%. And filter 2 frequency by -70. And now we get wobbling. And because I'm an idiot, what you need to do is switch to both the bandpass filters. Righto, cheerio. Hey, so now that you got that going on, the next thing you need to do, because I'm an idiot, is turn on filter 2. See what that did? Right now we're getting one bandpass filter, which is boring. Second bandpass filter completes the mouth. So if we're looking at it through the spectrum, that movement is what, creates the talking. So I'm using etch red as a filter because etch red has the ability to do unipolar or bipolar. Bipolar is when see how it moves back and forth now. Now it's only moving one way. I only want it to move one way. I don't know how to do that in Thor. So like if I was going to use LFO1, it kind of creates a different kind of sound. So I guess you could use a triangle wave, maybe. Let's see. No, not at all. That didn't work at all. But you can play with the values and it'll work out. So now that we basically have our complete FM patch going down, it's time for distortion. Only one unit on tape mode, so where it's just saturation. Knock it down to like 60 instead of 62. Don't ever use distortion to add like high frequency content, or like distortion won't. I see a lot of people just like throwing on mad distortion. Distortion won't like save your sound and make it awesome. Your sound needs to be, it needs to have its core before you throw distortion on. Distortion is just like a little enhancement. It's not like a savior. So just keep that in mind when you're doing shit. If you have Reason 6.5, you can go grab this free soft tube saturation knob, which basically is the same thing. And we can actually keep the low if we wanted to, but we'll leave it on neutral, and it sounds really nice. We're going to roll with the Scream 4 because more people have it now, but just for future reference. And the last thing we want to do, second to last thing we want to do, is create the echo. Dry wet to 33%. Time all the way to 1/28th. Keep pitch ping pong. I think that's it. And what this does is add a, basically because we have a mono signal, we want it to be wider. It's called the house effect, I think. You can look up how to do it somewhere. This is just a really quick bootleg house effect. But now it sounds like this. If you're listening in headphones, you'll definitely be able to hear that shit. And then throw on a stereo imager. What did I do? The crossover here is like 1 kilohertz, and everything below it we're going to do to mono, and everything above it we're going to leave at 0. Because the more I listen to shit, I hear that bass is mostly mono, like even up to the mid-range. I'd say like up to 400 hertz is mostly mono in most cases. So yeah, that's just a little tidbit. So that's the patch, pretty much. And then as usual up here, you can load up the nastier bass patch. I turn off all these parameters and cut 30 hertz. And then I limit the shit out of it. So that we don't have any dynamic range. So if we listen to the tune again. They do, what do they do? How long have I been? It's been a long tutorial already, probably. Let's see, can I see? 25 minutes, holy shit. Alright, I'll do this last bit quick. Basically, in the tune, it's a lot of different versions of this patch, or maybe it's multiple patches. But, like, don't just, if you create this patch, don't just, keep it with these two bandpass filters like this all the time. Like, you can move this down to the bottom end. And that sounds more... You can throw this rate up. And then with the pitch bend, they do something like this in the song. Alright, I can't keep this tutorial going on anymore. But, oi, that was long. I hope you learned something. That's all I can hope, is that we all learn things in our life. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Have fun, dudes.